All right. Hello. I'm pretty excited today. I finished my Invasion of the Cloud People game, at least what I consider version 1, and I even wrote it on cassette tape. My first time using a Spectrum and a cassette tape other than loading up a few games in the past. I've never written one before, and today I went through all the motions of making it work, and it worked. So I'm not sure if this is going to pick up, but Invasion of the Cloud People. I'm going to burp. There you go. And my first cassette of my own game. Spent about the last month creating it. It goes back to early 1980s when I was a kid playing with my Atari, and I came up with Invasion of the Cloud People. Never really worked on it other than a couple of things. Girls became more important. Cars became more important. My Datsun 240Z was my first car I purchased, a 1972 240Z. And so that was history. Now I'm in my 50s, and the Spectrum Next introduced me to the Spectrum platform. I got all excited because I want to buy one of those. So until I get a second Kickstarter on the way, I've been buying all sorts of Sinclair computers, and I've been learning how to program in BASIC, and I've created my first game. I'm pretty pumped. I'm going to show it booting. Thanks for the help of some folks on the Facebook groups. Richard Hallis and others came up with, I'd ask questions, and they would give me tips and answer some questions along the way. For example, I've been compiling my game with a program called SoftTech, and I compiled it right, and I even saved it right, but I couldn't get it to launch. And so I posted on there, what am I doing wrong kind of thing. And Richard said, hey, why don't you type in the word clear 39999 at the beginning before you load your game and see if that works. By golly, it worked. And my game was successfully loaded and worked. And then I've asked other questions about how can I tie in a little program at the beginning to auto-launch and do the clearing and auto-launch my machine language program. And I'm sorry, I forget all the names of folks that have answered questions, but the Facebook groups, the Spectrum ZX Basic group, very helpful when I asked questions. And I've got my first game. So I'm going to actually load it on my MacBook so the game comes in better. But for the first 5 or so minutes, I'm going to show it actually booting from my cassette, and wanted to have you enjoy that experience with me. So let's see if I can move my chair out of the way. And if you remember right, there's my big cassette player. And I'm going to run this on my ZX Spectrum Plus using the ZX HD connected to my big old 43-inch 4K monitor that I use with my Amiga X1 or X5000, I should say. I'm also an Amiga fan. Well, newer generation Amiga. I'm not in the classic Amiga. So let's go ahead and lock this in on the cassette a little bit. So you'll see load. And let's go ahead and hit a key, or enter key, bonk. Down here, let's find the play. My cassette's a whirring. So that was that little boot program that first started. And now it's going to kick in the machine language game. So for those following me on YouTube, I'm 8 shy of 500 in my channel. Very cool. That's pretty exciting too. Not a big goal of trying to collect thousands and thousands of people, but it's neat that there's some folks that follow my little antics in life. Fly fishing, Tenkara, my retro computer, and Volkswagens. I would say most of the stuff on my channel, though, is probably computer related, but there's some good fishing stuff on there too, and a little bit of Volkswagen. Lately, it's been all about my ZX Spectrum buying computers, unboxing, learning them, and this Sinclair platform has really excited me again for computing. I'm not quite sure why I didn't do this for the Atari. Maybe because the Spectrum makes me feel like I'm back in the 80s. I was born and raised on the Atari, 8-bit and 16-bit. So I went through that, but I never did the Spectrum bit. So this maybe is a better way for me to get excited about it because it's all new to me. Everything's fresh. I've never done any of this before. So pretty excited to be part of it. And hopefully folks enjoy this little game I've created. 7 levels. And I have not personally got into level 7 yet. I get into 6 periodically and then die. So the game can be a little bit tough, but for folks that play a lot of video games, I'll probably blow through this in 10 minutes. There's only 7 levels, and then if you get through that, it comes up with a congratulations screen at the end. But I'll be curious to see how long it takes folks to actually play it. If it takes them 10 minutes and they get through it, or if it takes them an hour and they finally make their way. For me, I don't play tons of video games, and I get into level 6 periodically, but most of the time I die between 3 and 5, someplace between there. So once it pops up, I'll just play it briefly, and then I'll move over to maybe my computer, where the video will come in better for the game playing, so you can see it up closer. So there's the introduction screen, Invasion of the Cloud People. It stays on that for about 10 to 15 seconds. And then it will give you a little title screen, Get Ready to Fly. Tells you about the controls, so it's basically your typical Q, A for up, down, OP for right, left. That bugger got me. Let's run her again. Actually, I'll take it to the computer maybe. That might be easier. I'll do one more here. I got to do the randomized user 40,000 to rerun it again. So, didn't even get through level 1. You only have one chance with that key. You have to get the key each and every level. You get 3 lives, but if that key's taken, that's it. So that's why I think it's a little bit of a tough game. So let's try this again. Oh, jeez. Let's get as many points as I can. Yay! So that's where I'll stop, and then I'll load it up on the computer probably, because watching this on the screen is through this camera is not very good. Alright, time to play. And you can hit the key on the keyboard to, any key on the keyboard to just go past those screens. See if I can get past level 1. Be a little greedy here. Whoa! That was pointed. It was one level lower. That would have been it. That's where you can't be too greedy. Oh! Starting to close me off. Where do I go? The left side's going to be dangerous, but I'm going to go for it. Where did you go? Oh. Oh. Ah. 6 hours, get my ass kicked. Oh! Rat's butt. Ah! Oh, that's where I get fatigued. I go up instead of down. So I was about 6 points away from getting the next cloud key. And you can see the screen is pretty full. So being able to you have to get an average of 20 per round. So if you get extras earlier, it can kind of help you in this round. But so that was level 6. 7 is basically this again, but with even more of the hailstorms blowing up. So I haven't made it past 6. I get close sometimes, but sure somebody else will easily do it. So that's it. That's Invasion of the Cloud People, version 1 at least. And then as I learn more, I'll program more and hopefully have a version 2 down the road. Thanks for watching.